Good evening, viewer, and thank you for watching UMCAT TV.
It is the 12th of November 2015. The news at 7. I'm Irene Mukatsinda with
Meth Reeves Salanjai.
But first, the headlines. Ugandans anxious about 2016 elections.
And did you know that Ugandans have developed a mobile app for laundry?
Researchers recommend a vegetarian diet for the cancer patients. The news in detail. In less than 6 months, Uganda will be holding yet another election, the 5th of its kind since the current regime came into power in 1986.
Our reporter Aisha Mundua Justin has more about the election hype.
Campaigns are on high gears as presidential candidates promise electorates heaven on earth. One question that lingers in the minds of almost every Ugandan is whether the incumbent, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will bounce back, or if Ugandans, for the first time in 30 years, will see change of face in highest office. According to Museveni, the question is not how long he has stayed in power, but rather his 40-year struggle to liberate the country to freedom.
Don't worry about my being in office for too long. If you are really worried about my long presence, you should worry about me being in the struggle for too long. If you are really worried about me being around for a long time, we shouldn't start with being in office, because this is only yesterday. I have been in the struggle for the last 40 years.
FDC President, retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye, Museveni's stronghold besides Amama Mbabazi, urges that there is nothing close to free and fair elections in Uganda apart from acting on compliance.
There have been widespread malpractices in the electoral process, and these malpractices have included massive corruption and bribery of voters.
However, voicing the electoral concern of Ugandans, this is what voters had to share.
For me, I personally am not voting. Why? Reason being, we expect results to be the same year per year, whether you vote or not. It has lost meaning. So to me, I won't vote.
When you look at the language these people, the politicians are using, the three big lions.
What languages?
BSJ is talking about defiance and so on and so forth. Museveni talking about his 40-year rule.
Now it's just a matter of months when more of these expectations will come to reality come 2016. Aisha Mundua Justin, UMCAT TV, Banda.
Thank you, Aisha. Over 300 families are homeless due to the El Nino rains.
Our reporter visited some of the affected areas and spoke to the affected families. We have more from Brenda Awori.
Heavy rains have greatly affected some parts of Kampala, especially Wise and Nakulavya and Chikoni. Houses and access roads have been flooded and blocked to traffic, bringing business at a standstill. The government privatized the rubbish collection, and most of the families that live here cannot afford to pay for the service. Houses in Chikoni are constructed without proper planning, so people build homes in drainage channels and block what would have been runways for heavy rainwater. The locals of these suburbs believe that the floods, which occur on a regular basis, are mostly caused by a large number of people living in this area who have, over time, constructed houses along drainage channels. Builders and developers are trying to reclaim floodplains and swamp areas, the parts of the suburbs, for future building. Adding to the problem is the fact that rubbish is dumped in drainage channels and along riverbanks, leaving floods and water no other place to go than in the homesteads. Things have been damaged like mattresses, utensils, furniture, houses, and most of the residents have been left homeless.
ate nga tubawo obululu ne mugaana okutuyamba musula mu fulaati ffe tusula mu godown. Aba abaana baffe babanigaba yaba embeera gye tulimu.
Residents say that the government and NEMA should put in place strict laws against those who pour soils in the swampy areas and those who pour rubbish in the drainage systems which cause them from flowing. Reporting for UMCAT Television, Awori Brenda, Nakulabi Chikoni.
Thank you, Brenda. Now moving on to business. 2015 has seen the Uganda shillings depreciate by 10% against the US dollar.
From big businesses to the smallest retailer, the inflation rate on different commodities is evident.
Our reporter Grace Nachimera caught up with Professor Andrew Carter of African Bible University.
Nevertheless, several factors account for the continued depreciation of the shilling against the US dollar.
A kind of a spiral, rising inflation causes a fall in the value of the currency, and then you get more inflation, so it's a kind of a cycle that carries on. But inflation is also a problem because economies work because consumers and producers communicate through price.
Yeah,
they have to. It's called the price mechanism. So when I go to the shop, I know that I want to buy something because of the price. And if the price goes up, it's a signal. It acts as a signal. So when the price of something goes up, and then people will.
And you can see the US dollar buys at 3,450 and sold at 3,470. The question is, who has the money? Reporting for UMCAT Television, Nachimera Press.
Thank you, Grace, for that report. In the same note, I was doing my weekly shopping on Saturday and I paid 1,000 shillings to the lady at the market and I was surprised she gave me only 2 tomatoes.
And the best they can say,
Dola Elinya.
Oh, that's amazing. In line with business still, with the high cost of living and low-paying jobs in Uganda, students are venturing into other income-generating activities to make ends meet.
Ronald Mukisa and Enrico Chicho share their stories with Gloria Catherine Napkondi, our reporter.
In a bid to stand the high cost of living in Kampala, different students have ventured into doing jobs to make ends meet. However, balancing between school and business is still a hassle that they undergo in order to meet their daily costs like rent, tuition fee, among other costs. In an interview with Ronald Mukasa, a first-year civil engineering student at Makerere University revealed that even running a unisex salon has become a costly venture because of high inflation rate in the country.
The other challenge is the fluctuation of the dollar. You know, when the dollar hikens, everything hikens from the electricity bills to the charges of the rent by the landlords, and you have to meet your tuition as a person and other things that you want to meet, like health and all that.
In a rated interview with Kitiyo Enrico, a second-year student at UMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication, also operating a cosmetic store with ladies' braids at Grand Corner Plaza, revealed that the business is gainful but overshadowed by the high tax rate.
Government increased tax on hair products and all cosmetics around, be it hair, be it Vaseline, be it hair products and everything. So we have faced a lot of challenge. Yes, the taxes are so high, and the general problem now is the dollar. The dollar is too high in that nowadays goods are expensive because of the dollar. I'll give an example. Assuming I was buying like this piece, I was buying it like at $1 last year. That means I was buying it because then the dollar was buying at 2,600. So I was buying like this piece at 2,600 then, and now the dollar is at 3,800. So it means now I'm going to be buying this at 3,800.
According to Enrico, despite a bomb, government has not taken few measures to respond to their problem.
I'm appealing to the government to help us, the youth, not to just wait for the time of campaign to come out and say, form groups and help you out. Like me now, being in a business, the government can help me out. Like, if I get my goods from out, at least it should reduce on the price, as it does to the big suppliers, be it the companies like the Darling.
We've
heard and witnessed the story. The question is, what can the government and the institution these students go to do about the situation? Reporting for UMCAT TV, I'm Nakonde Director.
Well, thank you, Gloria. Moving on to health. According to the Uganda Cancer Institute, 1,700 patients are on average diagnosed with cancer.
Already, 4 media icons have succumbed to this deadly scourge. Medical and naturopath scientists continue to research for a lasting solution.
Will they really find it?
Well, I'm not sure, but one thing I know is our reporter, Doria Nasaka, caught up with one of the scientists. Let's hear what she has to say from the continuation of this report.
With the death of veteran news anchors Danny Chaze, Bale Francis and Rosemary Nankabira, the media fraternity took to its heels to do more sensitization about the menace that robbed of its blood. While medicinal scientists are doing all they can to find a lasting solution to this deadly scourge, naturopath scientists are not seated either. Benon Chigundu, a naturopath researcher, says the first step towards kicking out cancer is to adopt a vegetarian diet and also ensure that one keeps the acid levels in their body as low as possible. Benon advocates for the application of alternative natural remedies like the use of medicinal marijuana, which starves the cancer virus.
Cancers are divided into two. That's a fact. They are lymphomas and sarcomas, I think. Now, the lymphomas, of course, things like leukemia. Those are basically lymphomas, which means they really target your DNA. Yeah. And then, of course, the other types of cancers are basically virus-based. The fact is that we have some kind of plants, not only marijuana, but a number of plants. But one of them that is really showing effectiveness in medical marijuana. Though marijuana has been demonized many times because of the misuse, it's a drug plant. So if you abuse it, if you overtake it, you're basically abusing it. It will abuse you in return.
According to him, chemotherapy, which is the most commonly used treatment, does more harm than good, for its acidity levels make the body too toxic that a number of organs in the body end up damaged.
Okay, now usually the advice I actually recommend to people is to deal with toxicity. Yeah, because immediately once you introduce chemotherapy and you don't deal with the toxicity in the body, the patient is most likely to die of chemotherapy. Because we shall have organ failure.
With all that is said, it is true that most Ugandans eat well but not right. Could it be that the foods we feed our bodies are making us susceptible to this killer disease? How about reversing the culture, feeding our bodies with foods that strengthen our immunity? I'm Nasaka Joeria for UMCAT TV.
Well, thank you, Joeria, for that report. Now, this takes us to Studio 2, where we have our very own Madrin interviewing
Josephine Kintu, one of the few Ugandans that have survived this deadly scourge. Let's hear what she has to say. Over to Madrin.
Yes, thank you, Miss, and welcome, dear viewer, to this health segment. I'm Madrin Navkera, and today we are discussing cancer. And with me in the studio, I have Josephine Kintu, a cancer survivor. Kindly tell us how it was.
When it happened to me, I used that courage that I had given to myself to go through that. And I had actually read about some journalists and called the Junabread. Yeah, someone had told me a book. And that gave me courage.
Yes, Josephine, I've read from recent reports that marijuana itself could be an alternative medicine. How true is this statement? Could you have used it?
It helps reduce what? The tumor. It disconnects the blood circulation around the tumor. Okay, so the oxygenation of the oxygen does not flow into the tumor, therefore it cannot work.
Yes, Josephine, you mentioned that aside from these major things you use, the likes of the oxygenating the body and marijuana, is there any other major medication you went through that helps you overcome this?
one of them is DNA application. As many people know about DNA, people know about DNA, but DNA is not only saying about whether this one is your child or what. DNA is the software. You have a software that is attached to this DNA. So I went through a process where the DNA is activated. Most of us feel like we use only 2% of the DNA. And I got a chance of activating. Up to today I've activated 90%. And what has this has done for me, it has boosted my immunity to be able to do what? Fight the cancer.
You've had it from her. She survived cancer. You also can survive cancer in the same way if you take some of the advice from her. But we have to end this here. But she will join us some other time in our health segment. Back to Metro Studio for UMCAT TV. I'm Madrin.
Thank you, Madrin.
I think it's a very inspiring and encouraging story to know that with just a few changes in what we eat, we could fight this disease and we shall have a healthy Ugandans in a healthy economy.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, moving on to technology, we bring you the latest app on the Android market.
Nicholas Kamanzi has developed an application that is designed to help users find services of laundry in their location.
Alan Mukiza digs deep in this.
While today's.com subscribers unwind in their closets, swiping their phones for anything they want, what you do not know that several app developers and computer engineers have sleepless nights trying to ease your life. In the MTN App Challenge this year, a graduate of computer and software engineering at Busitema University, Kamanzi Nicholas, together with the team, developed an Android app called User, and for this, they won with a prize money of $5,000 US.
Co-founders of Yoza. Yoza is a location-based laundry service app where we find people who do laundry in our communities and we connect them via mobile app and the website to people who are looking for laundry services.
Yoza, whose name is borrowed from the Luganda and Runyankole dialect, meaning wash, is designed to help users find laundry services in their localities. Yoza is currently available for Android users and anyone who can access the internet. The uniqueness of Yoza is such that the idea is very simple and yet solves an everyday problem that many Ugandans face at an affordable subscribing cost. Agasha Erin, one of the pioneer users of Yoza, says life has never been easy.
I've known the Yoza app for 2 months now. It has simplified my life because I work on weekends and I school during weekdays.
Kamanzi also urges all app developers out there to follow their dream and not to give up.
There is an increase in demand for solutions to African problems, and mobile applications are a focus of many young innovators like Kamanzi. For everyone out there that is left with no time to your hands to do your personal laundry or that of your families, Yoza is the perfect solution. For UMCAT Television, I'm Alan Ankiza.
Thank you, Alan, for that report. Now, the lazy people who find washing a big problem must be rejoicing.
That would help them a lot.
Laundry services are now just a tap away. Technology is really making things happen. 10 years ago, disc jockeying was perceived as a job for school dropouts.
Jonah Mwanguzi, aka DJ Mujo, a fast-rising spin master, talks to our reporter on how he has managed to balance his academics and his love for DJing.
DJing is one of the entertainment forms that has taken Kampala city by storm, with many youngsters jeering to embrace the profession regardless of the challenges that include insecurity, little pay, and tough competition from senior spin masters.
Competing with are very old. I am actually 1 year professional in the industry. I have competitors that are 6 years and above. It's a profession where people work at night, so the working hours are inconveniencing. There's a lot of insecurity at night. We move with equipment, we move like people like me that not own cars, we move on borders, we move on in cabs. so it's kind of insecure. Another challenge will be the pay. Most clubs, Uganda is not an established place where a DJ can survive compared to Nairobi, Kenya.
A second-year student at UMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and he says, despite having a certificate in professional DJing, he had to further his studies for a bright future. And he advises those who wants to follow his footsteps.
My advice to you would be follow your dream. First of all, DJing is a passion. If you have a passion for DJing, please do not give up. Follow your dream. Always have it at heart. Put your priorities first. If you're still in school, always put your priorities first. Like if you're still in school, finish school, then get to the DJing.
15 years ago, DJing was considered a curse, and whoever took it up was rendered a failure. But now, the society's opinion is rapidly changing. Jonathan Mwangusi, also known as DJ Mujo, a young talented person, nurtured it as passion. He has managed to balance academics and DJing as a career, from which he earns a living. Reporting for UMCAT TV, Baha Olelema, Kampala.
Thank you, Baha, for that report. This ushers us into our poll for tonight's bulletin.
Now, would you let your child go for DJing if that's the passion he has?
Dear viewer, would like to read and follow your views on our question. Reach us on our Facebook page, that is News at UMCAT TV. We are also live on Twitter, that is at News at UMCAT TV. For WhatsApp, it's even easier. Reach us on 0776 112 112. We will read your views before we end tonight's bulletin.
Thank you. Let's have a short break. We'll be right back with the international news.
Don't worry about my being in office for too long. If you are really worried about my long presence, you should worry about me being in the struggle for too long.
We are glad you're still watching UMCAT TV. Now a look at our foreign news.
World Health Organization has declared Sierra Leone Ebola-free a year after it claimed over 4,000 lives.
During a ceremony in Sierra Leone's Freetown, World Health Organization's country director Anders Nordstrom said that by satisfying the 42-day criteria with no new Ebola case, it was clear that Sierra Leone can now say goodbye to this deadly Ebola scourge.
Bye-bye, Ebola. We just want to say something to the people then.
After 42 days with no single case reported, Sierra Leone has been declared Ebola-free by the World Health Organization. This came after Liberia and Nigeria were declared free of Ebola in October 2014 and May 2015 respectively.
7th November 2015, the World Health Organization declares the end of the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone.
Nearly 4,000 people died from this disease in a span of 18 months, but the affected are left in candlelight prayers. This deadly virus hit hard the West African countries of Liberia with 4,808, Sierra Leone with 3,955, Guinea with cases of 2,536, and Nigeria with 8 cases. Following the declaration, His Excellency the President of Sierra Leone, Ernest Bai Koroma, called off the state of emergency which had been declared at the peak of the deadly scourge. However, the country will enter a 90-day heightened surveillance to make sure that the disease does not reoccur. In line with that, the National Ebola Responsive Center will continue to operate until the end of this year, 2014. And swabbing of all bodies will be mandatory until June 2016. Records state that since the first occurrence in Africa in 1976, this spell was the deadliest with 11,314 deaths across the affected countries. Aisha Mundua Justin, UMCAT TV.
Now, before we end this, let's first look at the question of today.
Well, we are getting differing opinions about whether parents would let their children with a passion for DJing go for it. And Grace Nachirema from Nakulabia says, I would never let my child interfere his education with DJing. While Tom Seremba, who is writing to us via WhatsApp, says, I would gladly let my child as long as they balance the art of DJing and their academics.
Now here we have Beatrice Kaitesi saying, if my child is really interested in something, then why not go for it?
Wow, those are varying opinions. What do you think, Irene?
I think this is good. I think this is really good for them. If someone is ready to get something, then why not go for it?
I think it is the art of balancing between passion and academics that we need to master. So, because these days people are earning a lot of money, not from their academics, but from their passion or talent.
Okay, thank you for your views. That was the news at 7. I'm Irene Mukatsinda with
Meth Reeves Salanjai. Stick around for these for more and better programming. Have a good evening.